It is often described as Africa's biggest night in film and fashion. Celebrities, filmmakers and creators arrived at the 12th edition of the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, AMVCA, in Nigeria with dramatic trains, sculptural gowns, shimmering fabrics and heavily theatrical designs that once again transformed the event from an awards show into a spectacle of style.
And over cold drinks in the Florida heat, this TechCrunch reporter watched from the paddock as founders and investors, the rich and the richer, mingled in search of deals. Conversations barely paused and, except for the occasional glance at the track where drivers sealed inside multi-million-dollar machines chased the checkered flag, F1 weekend is a three-day affair, with the race as the finale. In between are kickoffs, soirees and cocktail parties, dinners and nightclub takeovers, spaces where business and pleasure blur. Events like this, where wealth concentrates, have historically been places where business deals are struck. But the popularity of the F1 paddock has grown in recent years, especially among the startup and venture crowd.
Punjab Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz has inaugurated Marka-e-Haq Square at Rawalpindi's Kachari Chowk, formally opening the major signal-free corridor project for the public. The well-known Kachari Chowk has officially been renamed Marka-e-Haq Square. The project was built to ease traffic pressure at one of Rawalpindi's busiest junctions.
Traffic police on Sunday launched a citywide crackdown against underage and unlicensed drivers, announcing strict action against violators of traffic regulations. Chief Traffic Officer, CTO, Syed Abdul Rahim Shirazi, said vehicles and motorcycles being driven by underage motorists would be impounded and shifted to police stations in addition to issuance of chalans. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif recalled the historic response of Pakistan to India during Marka-e-Haq on Sunday as he addressed a ceremony held at the Pakistan Monument in Islamabad to commemorate the episode of conflict. The conflict with India, starting from the April 22 Pahalgam attack to the end of Operation Banyanam Mahsus with a ceasefire between the two countries on May 10, has been called Marka-e-Haq Battle of Truth by the state. Iran has sent its response to a US proposal to end the war in the region via Pakistan, Iranian state media reported on Sunday. The Islamic Republic of Iran sent today through Pakistani mediators its response to the latest text proposed by the United States to end the war. The official IANA news agency said, Iran has warned its Gulf neighbours that complying with US sanctions would lead to their ships face difficulties crossing the Strait of Hormuz. Military spokesman Mohammad Akramenia said vessels passing on through the vital trade route would face severe consequences if they did not cooperate with Tehran first, Iran's state-run news agency IANA reported.
Two pro-Palestinian activists who were detained in Israel after sailing on a flotilla carrying aid for Gaza have been deported. Saif Abu Keshek and Thiago Avila were taken to Israel after the Global Sumud Flotilla GSF, made up of 22 boats and about 175 activists, was intercepted last week in international waters near Crete, hundreds of nautical miles from Gaza. All the other activists were taken to Crete and freed. Jorge Martin charged from 7th on the grid to win the French Grand Prix on Sunday, claiming his first MotoGP victory in 588 days, while moving within striking distance of his Aprilia teammate Marco Bezzecchi in the championship battle. The Spaniard, who endured a forgettable 2025 season, plagued by crashes and injuries, overtook race leader Bezzecchi with 3 laps remaining to secure his first win since winning the 2024 title.
Pakistan's civil and military leadership are currently attending a ceremony being held at the Pakistan Monument in Islamabad to commemorate Marka-e-Haq, the conflict with India starting from the April 22 Pahalgam attack to the end of Operation Banyanam Mahsus with a ceasefire between the two countries on May 10, has been called Marka-e-Haq Battle of Truth by the state.
And A fragile ceasefire in the US-Israel war on Iran is coming under growing strain as several Gulf countries have reported drone attacks. Qatar said on Sunday that a drone struck a cargo ship in Qatari waters, sparking a fire, while Kuwaiti and the United Arab Emirates said they repelled drone attacks.
Iran's response to a US proposal to end the war has been sent via mediator Pakistan, Iranian state news agency IRNA has reported. IRNA reported on Sunday that according to the proposed plan, the first stage of the negotiations will focus on ending hostilities.
And a cousin of toppled Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad has been charged with at least 10 crimes, including murder, torture and responsibility for massacres, in the second session of a landmark trial. Atef Najib, the former head of political security in southern Syria's Daraa province, appeared in the fourth criminal court in Damascus on Sunday in a cage and wearing a striped prison uniform.
Latest research suggests that omega-3 supplements, long marketed for brain health, are associated with faster cognitive decline in older adults. A study based on data from the Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative, ADNI, followed more than 800 older adults for up to 5 years and found that those taking omega-3 supplements experienced faster deterioration in memory and thinking abilities compared to non-users.
And Islamabad. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi conveyed to Bangladeshi Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Shamar Obaid Islam on Sunday that there were vast opportunities for investment. And as the two sides agreed to increase cooperation in trade and business, Naqvi, who is on an official visit to Bangladesh, called on Islam in Dhaka, where the two held detailed discussions on bilateral relations, the regional situation, and Pakistan's conciliatory role, according to an official statement released by the Ministry of Interior. And one of Sri Lanka's highest-ranking Buddhist monks has been arrested and sent to remand prison over the alleged rape and sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl. The Venerable Palagama Hemarathana Thero holds one of the most revered positions in the Buddhist world, the chief prelate or custodian of 8 sacred sites in Sri Lanka. And British Army medics have parachuted onto the remote Atlantic island of Tristan da Cunha to help a British national with suspected hantavirus. The man left MV Hondius, the cruise ship hit by a deadly outbreak of the virus, in mid-April at Britain's most remote inhabited overseas territory where he lives.
When Russian forces withdrew last month from the strategic stronghold of Kidal in northern Mali, retreating under the jeers of the very rebels they were sent to crush, they surrendered more than just territory. Observers characterized the withdrawal of the Kremlin-backed Africa Corps as a humiliating blow to Moscow's prestige as a leading security partner in Africa's Sahel region, widely considered the world's deadliest terror hotspot. US military intelligence gathering flights cite surging off the coast of Cuba. Analysis of publicly available aviation data shows. Since February 4, the US Navy and Air Force have conducted at least 25 such flights using manned aircraft and drones, most of them near the country's 2 biggest cities, Havana and Santiago de Cuba, and some coming within 40 miles of the coast, according to Flight Radar 24.
And Kylian Mbappe will miss Real Madrid's crucial La Liga fixture against Barcelona despite training for El Clasico with his teammates before the trip to the Catalan capital. The league's leading goal scorer was left out of the Real Madrid squad named for Sunday night's game at the Camp Nou stadium in Barcelona, where the home team can be crowned Spanish champions with a win over their arch-rivals.
For millions of women in the United States, being a mother comes with an extraordinary price tag. From the earliest stages of pregnancy through childbirth and into years of childcare, expenses for healthcare, delivery and raising a child are significantly higher in the US than in most other wealthy countries. Even basic needs like medical care and childcare can place a major burden on families.
A consumer protection court has fined a private bank after ruling in favor of a citizen who faced inconvenience due to a faulty ATM in Karachi, 24 News reported Saturday. The court ordered the bank to pay Rs 15,000 in compensation to the complainant for mental distress and loss of time caused by the incident. Prisoner accused of kidnapping and murdering a citizen in Karachi has escaped from Malia jail. The suspect, identified as Naveed alias Polka, was allegedly involved in the kidnapping and murder of a citizen within the limits of Yoharabad police station. He had been arrested by Yoharabad police a few days earlier.
As fears of renewed conflict hang over Iran, conservationists are shoring up battered historic sites and taking stock of the damage caused by the war with the United States and Israel, though experts warn some repairs could take years. At Golestan Palace, a defining cultural landmark in central Tehran, shattered mirrors, broken doors and debris from ornate ceilings now lie scattered across parts of the site after shockwaves from strikes on the capital following the outbreak of war on February 28.
The United States continues to wait for Iran's response to its latest proposal to end the war that spilled into the region, including Lebanon, and triggered a global creation due to global energy crisis due to Tehran's de facto blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The Trump administration expected the Iranian government to respond by Friday, but Tehran says it is still reviewing the offer and insists any agreement must be fair and comprehensive. A new private airline named Noor Airways plans to enter Pakistan's domestic aviation market. According to Pakistan Aviation News, Noor Airways' application for a regular public transport license has been processed at the Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority. The airline intends to start flight operations with a fleet of Airbus A320 aircraft, initially on domestic routes.
And dairy farmers in Karachi have demanded a 100 per litre increase in the official milk price, citing a sharp rise in business costs, 24 News reported Sunday. According to the Dairy and Cattle Farmers Association, dairy businesses can no longer operate at the current official rates because fodder, electricity, petrol and other expenses have increased significantly. And the Sindh government's 28-point list of restrictions imposed on Aurat March Karachi is a distressing example of familiar double standards. Women are celebrated in speeches and choreographed photo opportunities, and only for the state to recoil the moment they demand their rights. The organisers sought permission to march peacefully for women's rights. What they received instead was a document dripping with authoritarian anxiety. And the message could not have been clearer: women may gather, but only if they remain politically harmless.
Pakistan Telecommunication Company Limited, PTCL, said on Sunday that consumers may face internet disruptions due to maintenance work on a submarine cable between May 11 and 18. In a post on X, PTCL said, "A maintenance activity is planned on one of our submarine cables to repair a fault by the International Cable Consortium," adding that the work will begin on May 11 and may continue until May 18.
Maranj. A large-scale security operation against militants continued for the third consecutive day in the Shewa Tehsil and adjoining areas of North Waziristan, with reports claiming that 7 militants, including 2 key commanders, were killed during search and clearance operations. According to sources, several militant hideouts were destroyed during the operation, while security forces intensified actions in multiple localities of the region.